What is going on, everybody? Vex30 here, coming with a new video today. And today, usually we don't post videos on Sunday, but this is a special occasion, and that being Friday the 13th. We didn't do it yesterday because we already had a video planned for yesterday, but Friday the 13th, Evil Mojo Adonis tweeted something that'll make all of us support mains the happiest people in the world. It should be coming next week, but we'll talk about that when it comes to the tweets. But before we jump into the tweets, I'll explain how this video is going to go. So we're going to go through each part of the tweet, break it down, and talk about what it means for the PTS and the future of Paladins. And then we're going to talk about, at the end, the conclusion and the summary of it all. But without further ado, let me tell you to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, as I appreciate it and it'll help this channel greatly. With that being said, let's talk about the tweets. Hey, you? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Did you know there is now Vex30 merch? You can show off your favorite support main with style on the street with the Classic V line. Be sure to check down below in the description for the link. Now, if you don't know who Evil Mojo Adonis is a game designer at Paladins. I don't know if he's the head designer, but he is a game designer at Paladins, and he does a lot of the main social media stuff when it comes to that. So just to give you context who he is, so what he's saying is legitimate and something they're looking into. But let's talk about this first tweet. There are 6 parts to this tweet. So the first part, I want to thank you all for your Paladins game Season 3 PTS feedback so far. We made adjustments to shields feeling too weak in the early rounds yesterday. Basically, they buff shields. And after a meeting with the AOC, which the AOC is Assembly of Champions, you all did or could have voted on a representative for your platform. And the AOC is a representative from each platform that talks directly to the game devs. So if you wanted to give feedback the best you can, get a hold and figure out who your AOC representative is. They talked with the AOC a few hours ago, and there will be adjustments to support next week. Now, what does that mean? It doesn't mean much, okay? The ending part, they're going to make adjustments after talking to AOC. The AOC told them supports feel weak. And JFlare probably was one of the biggest proponents for it, because I watched his video about supports, and honestly, it was everything I was thinking. So I'm very happy that they were very vocal about it, talking about how supports are feeling weak, and Evil Mojo made adjustments. So let's shoot it over to this next tweet so we know exactly what they did. Now, this next tweet is going to talk about a lot about the thought process when it comes to supports and the current PTS, and what exactly they think they should change to help that. So the tweet was, main observation, players are hitting COD 3 within the first round or early into the second round with the new item store changes. Makes sense. Current theory is that the primary reason why supports are feeling overall weaker is the cauterize changes what they did. So next week, we will see a caught price reverted to 300, 600, 900, and the duration back to 1.5 seconds. Now, what does that mean? Cauterize currently in the PTS is 250, 500, 750 for the price for 2 seconds. Each one lasting 2 seconds. What they're going to do is revert the price back to 300, 600, 900, and change the duration back to 1.5 seconds. The duration increase to 2 seconds was unnecessary. And I get the price reduction, but it let, exactly what they said, it let players get cauterized way too early. And it was cutting off early game really good healing and players having to play around that. The healing was feeling awful early game, which about end of first point into second point, it already didn't feel good. And then late game, because a rejuve's so weak, you have no pluses late game, so it's going to feel worse through most of the game. The first point, it was all right, but through the most of the game, it felt terrible. So these changes are going to help, and honestly, the 2 seconds duration didn't make any sense. 1.5 was the best way to do it. So their theory is that this is going to help supports feel stronger. I do agree with that theory, but it's not the only issue support have right now. A lot of the supports have been turned into heal bots, and if you want to hear exactly why, I was going to do a video on it, but JFlare honestly did a perfect video, so go check out his video on supports during the PTS. But a lot of supports have been turned into heal bots, so that's one reason why I think they don't feel as good. But honestly, this change will help supports feel better. It'll help them the second, third point into late game, but this next tweet will honestly help them scale better late game than they were before. So let's look at this tweet. Additional notes. Looking at giving a Rejuve a 2% buff at all ranks with caught reverts. Rover was hit too hard, so he'll be getting some healing numbers back. They're closely watching Fury and Damba. The double beam Gourd seems top tier right now. Makes sense. And Shah's Desert Silence is likely too good. Expect a 1 second to 1.5 seconds for live. let's break this tweet down. So the first part, the reju buff. That's exactly what I was talking about during the last part. The reju buff will help supports feel better mid to late game because rejuvenate right now at 15% at tier 3, it's not very good. It wasn't worth it because all the healing numbers were reduced. Rejuve should not have received that big of a nerf that it did. It was at 5, 10, 15. Now it's going to be put to 7, 14, 21. I think this change will help supports feel better mid to late game. The caught changes are going to help supports feel better early to mid game, and the rejuve changes should help mid to late game. So supports overall should feel better with these changes, but it's something we're going to have to get on PTS and test. But initial thoughts, yeah, I think supports are going to feel a lot better now. Grover was hit too hard. Yeah, he was. So he's going to get some healing numbers back. That's amazing. Maybe they're going to buff Rampant Blooming or change his burst heal back to what it was before. They're going to change something on Grover, which we don't know what it is yet. They're going to change something to make him feel better because right now he feels awful. He does not feel amazing. He has again turned into a heal bot, and he did not feel fun to play whenever I played him. When I did a video on him, I was honestly tilted when I played him. I'm like, this is not my Grover. This is somebody else's Grover. They're watching Furia and Damba. The Furia beam seems very strong right now in casuals, and that makes sense. And the Gourd seems very strong. It's very high healing numbers. Do I think Beam is going to be the best? No, I actually think Furia will be the best support, though, for another reason. We're going to do a video on that tomorrow or the next day. We're going to talk about that. But, yeah, Beam, there's a lot of beams being thrown out because of Kindle Soul change. And then Dama the Gourd, when I played it, I didn't like it very much because people didn't stand in my Gourd. But when you have teams that actually know what they're doing and they stand in the Gourd, I could see Gourd being really OP, so I'm glad they're keeping an eye on that. And then the Shaw silence, it was, what was it, at 3 seconds, I was told? It was at 3 seconds. And it being reduced by 1 to 1.5 seconds, yeah, that makes sense. 3 seconds sounds a bit overkill. Maybe 1.5. 1.5 is a pretty good, even, middle ground number. But these changes, the first one, the Rejuve one, is going to help supports feel better late game. I'm so happy Grover is going to get some of his healing numbers back because he was feeling so bad. I'm so happy he's going to get buffed. Them keeping an eye on Grover or Damba and Furia makes sense. And the Shaw silence buff or nerf, yeah, that needed to happen. So this next tweet is basically a small little snippet. It's them acknowledging something that is currently going on in the PTS, which is a positive, but it's just something a little short. So let's talk about it now. Also, flanks are back, it seems. They are. It's kind of nice. They want to closely watch as the class dynamic is shifting so heavily with these changes. A lot of factors are in the mix, and they want to hit that perfect equilibrium at the end of PTS. Yeah, very right, very true. Flanks are coming back with the changes and Drox's buffs that he's received the past couple patches, the ammo, the Koga buffs, which are actually kind of awesome. The Xin buffs, all those buffs, and Maeve even got stronger. I don't know if Maeve needed to get stronger, but flanks are returning, and it's not because of mobility exactly. They just added some really cool cards for the champions and did some cool changes. So very happy to see that, and I hope that continues because I'm honestly very happy flanks are seeing their way back in the meta. Now, this next part, we're going back to supports. And this second part of this tweet, plus the next tweet, I want to talk about a little more in depth because I actually had a conversation with Adonis about this. So we're going to talk about that here in a minute, but the first part is Ying healing nerfs we were testing got through to PTS, which was the life exchange was actually nerfed from 800 to 700, and her Ying clone healing was nerfed from 420 to 360 per 1.6 seconds. And she seems healthy from what they've witnessed. They will see some card changes by the end of next week. So the changes they put in were pretty good, and they're very happy with it. And he's thought a lot about Grok lately. He will see some changes before Season 3, but they want to hold some larger updates for Patch 2. Now, let's talk about this. The Ying changes, the nerfs were really good. Ying with the nerf to Bulldozer, since clones won't die as fast if people have Bulldozer. That was very, honestly low-key that a lot of people didn't notice, but Ying clones just stayed alive. They outputted a lot of healing, so they nerfed her life exchange healing, which is good, from 800 to 700, and they reduced her clone healing. Very smart changes to Ying, and she needed changes because she was very good because of her ultimate. Now, this Grok thing. I actually had a conversation with Adonis about this. I was like, hey, Adonis, what do you think about this change? I was like, what if you take Spirit's Domain as the talent and add onto the talent, and it says you're healing allies for a 900 health, also heals you for 150 every second. So you get some sort of self-sustain, because honestly, that's one of Grok's biggest problems as a healer is he has no self-sustain. He said, yes, we like that idea, but we want to implement it as a card. And then he also stated that Grok has a lot of issues when it comes to his cards because he is a very older champion, and his cards are very tailor-made for his older play styles and his older talents and his older way of play. So I would expect to see some major card changes coming in patch 2 for Grok, and possibly some, I don't know what they're going to do for the changes before season 3, but expect some major card changes when it comes to patch 2 when it comes to Grok. And I'm very happy to see that because Grok hasn't been meta in how long? I don't remember. I actually don't remember when Grok was meta. It's been so long. So let's talk about this next week because it's also about Grok. And now the final tweet we are going to talk about is basically just reiterating some of the things I was saying just a second ago. So let's quickly go through this. Grok is a legacy champ with a lot of strength in his very specific cards. I'm looking at giving him the bear treatment, redistributing that strength between his base kit, talents, and cards. Awesome. That's what I'm talking about. Look for major Grok changes when it comes to patch 2. Don't worry about Grok so far into this PTS. Don't think too much about him. He's going to get major changes when it comes to patch 2. I don't see him being that good because, again, his inherent issue is he has no self-sustain, and supports need self-sustain, so you don't use your heal on yourself, and that wastes the heal for a teammate, and you can stay in the open and heal people with Grok and not have to be in your totem around allies, which allies are typically around enemies, and enemies kill you as a support. So Grok has some major inherent issues with both of his healing talents. So I'm so happy they are finally addressing them, and I'm honestly so happy with these changes altogether. What this says to me is Evil Mojo is listening. They had to have a meeting with the AOC, and J-Flare, I assume, like I said, was the biggest proponent of it. But supports needed major change, and these are the changes I think that need to happen. Now, am I happy with the changes still to supports? No. I think one of the biggest problems with supports right now is they were turned into heal bots, which makes them boring to play. It makes it feel like another game that has heroes and is a shooter. It makes it feel like that game, and that game I don't like supporting in because it's not very fun. It's very linear. It has like one style of play. You're only doing a couple things. With supports and paladins, they had a lot of different options. They had utility. It felt amazing to play. Supports, honestly, are not as fun to play anymore, but these changes are going to help the new style of supporting. It's going to help it it's going to help it feel better mid to late game with these changes. It's going to help it feel better throughout the whole game with the changes to Rejuve and the changes to Caught. But this shows Evil Mojo is listening, so please, please, please keep giving your feedback about the PTS. As much as everybody thinks they don't listen, they do. They check the stats, they hear what you're saying, and I know there are some things people out there they don't like still, as in the VGS system. I don't want to be a part of that because I already gave my opinion. I think the VGS changes were good overall because it's better for new players. That's a touchy subject. That's a hot topic, but they are listening. So please keep giving your feedback and just trust them. This PTS cycle still has probably another 3-4 weeks to go. So please keep giving your feedback. I'm going to say that that's 4. We're going to say it one more time. Give your feedback to them. They listen. Now to end off and round up this video, I hope you all enjoyed it. These changes I'm very excited to see for supports, even though their style of play was changed. This will help their new style, and it's something I'll have to get used to, even though like I said, I don't like it totally. I'll have to get used to it, but these changes were really good, and I'm very, very happy. The nerfs that are coming are amazing. The buffs that are coming are amazing, and I'm so happy that the devs are communicating via Twitter. It's actually kind of nice seeing a dev that is constantly involved in doing things. So good for you, Adonis. I'm very happy. Keep up the hard work. But I hope y'all enjoyed that video. It was pretty fun for me to make. I kind of want to do more of these videos. They're kind of like news videos. I don't know how to call it. Maybe I'll format them a bit different in the future, but I hope you enjoy the style of it. It's not totally different on this channel, but I want to do more of these. When I see spoilers or what's to comes or something like that, I do a quick video on it and be like, hey, check this out. This is pretty cool. So if you want to see more of those videos, be sure to drop a like on the video so I know you want to see more of these. Drop a comment. Tell me what you think. But that is it for me. I hope all of you enjoy your day, night, evening, morning, dawn, dusk, or whatever it is where you live. And I will see you in the next one. Later. And a huge shout out to my members: Banana Pops, Branch Fam 805, Clayton Nabidi, Connor, Jay, Mason Lane, and to all my other members, thank you so much.